Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with another battle report. So this is game 3 of the tournament that I affectionately called Never Bring a Knife to a Gunfight. This time I'm at the losers table, first time ever. Winless so far, 0-2. My opponent is 0-2. Beastmen versus Dwarfs. And I really need to give a shout out to this opponent for having one of the most amazingly displayed armies I have ever seen. This thing, oh my gosh, beautifully painted models. Look at the battle standard bearer. That standard he hand drew, scanned, printed it on decal, and then did some process like that. It's absolutely stunning, and this picture does not do it justice. Beautifully, beautifully painted army. The detail is absolutely amazing. Pleasure to play against. It's a pleasure to do a battle report for, to have an army where this much care and attention was put into it. Anyway, you can see kind of how he built his list. Start in front, he's got a horde, a smallish horde of warriors with great weapons, with a battle standard bearer in there. Behind him he has a rune lord. To the left, a unit of hammers with his general, who's a lord on shield bearers. He's got a unit of quarrelers, and then 3 war machines. There's 2 cannons and a grudge thrower. The cannon on the left has the rune of forging and can reroll misfires. The grudge thrower has +2 strength and can reroll the scatter die, and the cannon on the right has flaming attacks and can reroll misfires. So very brutal in its own way. I wonder if mainly just because of points denial, because it's going to be hard to break these units. At least that's the sense I get of it. But nevertheless, I still look at it and I'm thinking, 2,500 points. It just doesn't seem to have a lot on the table. So personally, I'm looking forward for the Dwarfs getting a new army book. And then he has 2 gyrocopters. Again, just beautifully painted. These things, it's just stunning. I really wish this battle report could do justice to it. Anyway, so this is still just the deployment. I'm not going to go through my list in detail, but the big thing is I kept 2 units of Gore out as ambushers because I kind of knew that he would be castling, and I wanted a better chance of getting a unit behind his lines. Otherwise, I've got Harpies, Minotaurs with my general, who is Torox the Brass Bull, Gore with my spellcaster, level 2 Lore of Beasts, then Minotaurs with my battle standard bearer, Gore Bull, and in on the very right hand corner I've got more Gore with a War Gore who is just a character, giving him some small benefits. So Dwarfs go first. First thing he does is fly his gyrocopters up to line up juicy flank template shots on my units. We had kind of a rules dispute because I knew they could move 10 inches and shoot, and they could fly 20 inches. I didn't think they could fly 20 inches and shoot. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. It would be nice to know, so if you know that rule, please post a comment. So anyway, he lines that up, and after the shooting phase, this is not, obviously this is not just the gyrocopters. The gyrocopter on the left took out 4 harpies, but he passed his panic. And the one on the right, combined with a cannon or 2, knocked the Minotaur unit in half. So instead of 5 Minotaurs and a general, I have 3 Minotaurs and no Torox the Brass Bull. For at least 2 games did not make it anywhere past the halfway line. So yeah, I can win without him, but it's tough losing your general first turn. And here on the right, I lost a couple Gore, but compared to the general, who cares? So we go to Beastman turn 1, and wouldn't you know it, I roll left table edge for my unit of Gore, and I swear, I mean, I'm just rolling my eyes at this point, saying, really, really, left edge, fantastic, good job, guys. The other unit did not come on. Oh yes, it did. The other unit came on, and it got the right edge, and I was very happy about that. So I am complaining about one, and I cannot complain about the other. It came on perfectly, right where I needed it to. That's better than coming in behind his lines, because they wouldn't have fit very well. So anyway, that's very nice. I move up, as you can see. Nothing else really happened. We go to Dwarf turn 2. He flies his gyrocopters over to keep on laying those flame templates down. Here we had not so much as a rules dispute as much as I said, look, you can do it, but technically it's not correct, I don't think. But basically, his quarrelers, if you remember, were too deep, and they were as close to his cannons as he could get them. And so when you're too deep and you can't go back anymore, and you want to reform to be 5 wide facing the side, the center of your unit has to shift forward. And so I was kind of saying, look, when you reform like that, you're not keeping your center the same. In order to keep your center the same, you would have to be 4 wide, not 5 wide, which would be stupid to do. So anyway, it made it muddy, and I said just go ahead and do it. One of those awkward things, though. Shoots at these guys, didn't do nearly enough. And we go to Beastmen turn 2. So the big news is I took the Gore unit that was behind his lines, and instead of charging the Coilers in the face, I decided just to wheel right in front of him and charge his warriors in the rear. I've got a charge and a rear to his extra standard, so I'm starting with 2. I'm almost certain I'll have at least 1 more rank than him, so I'm starting with 3. He won't be steadfast. If I could do just a couple more wounds, I think I can break that unit and probably run him down and get the BSB off the table and be off to a very, very nice start. So very happy with how the ambush rule is working in this game for the Beastmen. Normally I'm not happy with it at all. You notice my Gorbel is not in with the other Minotaurs. It's kind of a gamble I took, but basically I charged one of his gyrocopters with, I believe, my lone remaining Harpy, and he fled. And so I charged my Gorbel out of the unit, caught the gyrocopter, and now he's out there on his own. Which seems like he's susceptible to cannon shooting, but remember, one of the cannons has flaming attacks, and he's got a 2-up ward against flaming, so I'm pretty much just taking my chances there. Even in the unit, he doesn't get a lookout sir, because I brought a champion, because I'm stupid, so I didn't think he was in any more danger than he would be normally. During the magic phase, I get +1 strength and toughness off on the unit in combat. My wizard gets sucked into the void, lay a large template down, and totally destroy the unit. So and then it fled, so awesome. After combat, I can't complain how it went. He really did relatively few wounds to me. I did a few to him. I think he needed like a 3 or 4, whatever he needed. He failed it, broke, and I ran him down. Now, because we went middle to middle, it kind of put me right in a very awkward position because the hammers can see my unit. They're going to charge and will almost certainly win that combat. But if I lose it, that's still a fair trade. So we'll go to Dwarfs turn 3. The hammers charge the Gore unit, obviously. And let's see, over here he shoots at my Minotaurs. He isn't able to hit my Gorbel, and I think he just kind of flew over his head, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It killed 2 more Minotaurs. Luckily they passed their panic test. But yeah, by the time we're getting close to combat, I've got most of my units are so depleted I can't take them into combat. These guys, they beat my Gore in combat easily enough. That didn't surprise me. What did surprise me is they ran him down. Just because the Dwarfs are, 2d6 -1, I always assume they're not going to run him down, but they did. So the problem I have here is I really don't want to go into that hammer unit. They're high strength, they're stubborn, and he's got his Dwarf Lord in there giving him leadership 10. I'd rather just avoid it, and it's not going to be easy to avoid it, but that's really kind of what I'm thinking the best thing to do is. So we go to Beastmen turn 3. The 1 unit of Gore failed to rally, so they keep on running. And what I should have shown there is the Harpy charged his other gyrocopter and he fled. And I don't know why he's fleeing from a lone Harpy, but I would have had his rear, so I'd had a charge and a rear, and maybe he just didn't want to take the chance. And leadership 9, he's likely to rally. So over here I charged this Gore unit, discharged him around the hammers into the flank of the Quarrelers, and I think that worked out very nicely. This is kind of awkward the way it's looking. Actually, I should be facing at a slightly different angle, but we just couldn't with the terrain. But anyway, they are, as you can see them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to win that combat. I'm pretty sure he won't be steadfast. So I'm very, very hopeful we can beat them in combat and hopefully get an overrun into a war machine so I can kill the war machine on his turn instead of my turn. I pass my frenzy test with my Gorbel and move him around to charge a war machine next turn, and really because I just don't want him getting charged by the hammers. And after combat, it looks like that. Yes, we did beat the Quarrelers. They ran off the table. I overran and hit the Grudge Thrower. So very, very, very happy about that. So go to Dwarfs turn 4. What's he going to do with his hammers? I mean, it's really, in hindsight's 2020. What he did here was he moved them so that my Minotaurs couldn't get an easy charge on his Rune Lord. His Rune Lord moved as far as he could towards my lines because he was out to the left in this picture, and the Minotaurs could have charged him easily. So he's trying to protect him. The only other thing he really could have done is turned his back on the Minotaurs so he could charge my Gore Bull and or my Gore unit next turn, but I'm not sure there's many people out there that want to turn their back onto a unit of Minotaurs. So during shooting, he does this, kills another Minotaur, but they pass their panic. I think I would have been tempted to turn my back on them and then assume I'd kill at least one and they'd fail their panic, but that's just the way I play. This was kind of funny. So the cannon with the nearest cannon, because the other cannon really can't see my Gore Bull. The other one has flaming attack, so it shoots at my Gore Bull. I've got a 2-up ward save against it, and I fail it. And then he only rolls 2 to wound. So, yeah, I think it's that kind of day for both of us. So after combat, the Grudge Thrower's dead, and they line up a charge on his other cannon next turn, so I'll be able to charge both cannons with my Gore Bull and that unit. We go to Beastmen turn 4. The Gore unit fails to rally. They flee through my Harpy, which fails its panic and runs away from the nearest unit, which is a Gyrocopter. Yeah, I charge with both of these units. I do not charge with my Minotaurs because they would just get chopped to bits. And after combat, my Gore Bull runs off the table because he has to overrun. My Gore reform, and they're facing the rear of the hammers. Again, I'm not really looking to take him into this hammers if I can help it. I'd rather get an easy charge against that Rune Lord, but that, he could probably just move out of my way again. Go to Dwarfs turn 5, he charges my Minotaurs, and I just run. I saw no point whatsoever in staying around for that. If you notice the unit, the Gore on the left, I actually forgot to move them last turn, but even so, they're finally getting able to get to the combat, and it's working out pretty nicely. Like, they just kind of stayed out of harm's way until I need them at the end of the game. So, Beastman turn 5, I decided to go ahead and take the Gore into the rear and the Minotaurs into the flank. It was a really tough decision, but what I was worried about is I didn't want him reforming and charging me. And then even thinking that it's turn 6 and he could reform but he couldn't charge, I'm thinking, let's just play this game. Really, the main reason I took the Minotaurs in is because I didn't want him to be able to reform. Because as it is now, I'm in his rear and his flank. His attacks on me are relatively limited. If he reforms, he's going to get a whole lot more attacks. So I go ahead and take 2 units in there, and then I line up so that if we're still fighting on my next turn, the Gore Bull and the other Gore unit can charge on my next turn. Otherwise, everybody rallied. And after combat, it looks like that. Basically, I cut the unit down by 1/3. Very happy with that. Minotaur champion died in a challenge to his general, but I've still got a champion in the Gore unit as well as the War Gore character in the Gore unit who can keep his general tied up. We go to Dwarf turn 6. He flies 20 inches and lays down a flame template and kills all but 2. They fail to panic, run away, and it doesn't matter because I get all the points anyway. They're not going to run off the table. After combat here, I take down the unit by probably another 1/3 from where they were, and I'm winning. He's stubborn. We're just sticking around, but at least I'm confident I'm not going to lose any points here. And the worst that's going to happen is he's not going to lose points. So we go to Beastman turn 6, charge the Gore Bull in the rear, charge the other unit in the front. At this point, I'm not giving him any extra attacks really. He's pretty much everybody's going to be able to fight. So we just charge everybody in there, see if we can do enough wounds. We kill the hammers to a man. His dwarf lord is there by himself, but he's no longer stubborn. Easily run him down, break him in combat, run him down, and that's it. So the Beastman finally won a game. But in fairness, the dwarf player has played very few games. He loves to paint and model, and he does an outstanding job doing that. And I think he's just now, because his army's done, is just now starting to play. So he's a relatively new player. So I don't like that his first tournament experience was 0-3. But yeah, I think both of us brought a knife to a gunfight, at least metaphorically speaking. So anyway, that was it. The Beastmen ended up the tournament 1-2, which is nothing to be proud of, and probably won't use this build again, but it was worth a go. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.